Okay, thank you for clicking on this video. The purpose of this one is to emphasize the last few features that we've introduced through our firmware updates for our MNC products and our MBR products, basically our wireless routers and controllers, which is what you're looking at here. So, and those products are our MBR 500 and 550 and our MNC 1200s. So, the first feature is we've always had Mac management to be able to white and blacklist Macs, you know, and limit them by certain ports and things like that. But we've just recently added your ability to blacklist domains. So you would just go ahead and key them in here, and those would be disallowed on your boat network. So that's quite straightforward. Next one is guest login. So we've added recently a guest login that if it's enabled, it would allow folks to get on the network without actually keying in a login code. That request came in from some of our dealers. One in particular has some large vessels that there is a large amount of people that are heavily vetted that come on and off the boats every single week. So in concept, it's kind of an airport feature where you could go ahead and get on the network without having to actually log in at all. So the way we accomplish that is, you know, first of all, you can run our routers very open and shallow or as deeply controlled as you would like, as is shown here, open access, or you can run them by login code and Mac authentication. You would need to do that in order to support the guest login. So I've just created a couple login codes here as examples. There's one that is 1234 and the other is 67890. And let me show you those. So it's clear on the capabilities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The description is crew. There is no limitation in bandwidth. We did put a data limit on here of 1 gig. You could change that, obviously. The usage type is shared because this particular crew member could have multiple devices, multiple Macs, you know, being a cell phone, a laptop, and maybe an iPad. We've said 1 gig, so for what duration? So we said 1 gig per day, and it'll auto-renew. So if he exhausts that 1 gig today, he would be granted another gig tomorrow without anybody having to key that in, and he is able to gain access to the internet regardless of what port the network is on. So that is for, you know, maybe a senior crew member or something. And the next one is what we've assigned to the guest login, which is where they're not having to key in the login if you enable that. And this is certainly limited in terms of bandwidth. We didn't put a data limit on it, but we did put a time frame on it. So it's a max of 4 hours, and again, that's 4 hours per day, and it can auto-renew. And we've restricted it to the port being the marina. So if the vessel is moving off the marina and moves to cellular or to SAT, these guests that do not have to log in and are certainly limited would lose access to the internet. So that's how the guest login works. And lastly, the last feature we'll talk about here on this video is how we can create a personality. We've successfully data capped ports. So, and that was a request by some of our peer manufacturers and integrators a little while back. So I just wanted to share that with you. So the way we do that is, oh, and by the way, this is the area where you can go ahead and change your priority. If you're using your failover priorities, you can change the port name, you can change the port from WAN to LAN, and I'm sure you all are aware of all this. But as far as the data capping by port, you can go ahead and click that. So now you're going to limit usage on that port. You can key in whatever data limit you want. The unit of measure, you can define it by calendar. If you're doing that, you would want to say, okay, it's the first, you know, maybe the first day of the month to align with the billing cycle. And or you could do it by interval if you wanted to, which would be, you know, how many days in case it's a charter or something like that. And once this the data hits that threshold, it would lose its connection. So with that losing its connection, if it's on manual, you could just reestablish a connection by clicking on any other port. Or if you have it set to auto failover, theoretically you could have it set to where this is auto 3 and then this is auto 4. So once high speed gets exhausted, instead of running the risk of an overage, it would automatically fail over to unlimited, which is free. Which could be free, but it would be heavily throttled, but at least folks would remain on the internet. There could certainly be more manual intervention to go ahead and change this, but there does have to be some human intervention to go ahead and make these changes for whoever is controlling that network. So that is the highlights of the features. We're working on a whole bunch of other cool stuff and cool requests relative to our routers. So I do appreciate your time, and we do welcome your feedback. Thanks again for connecting.